Coming up on No Pulp, what is going on in college football? I mean, seriously, every single team that played this weekend lost. That's a fact. I checked it. We'll break it all down and break down this week's biggest upsets.
Plus, there's a whole lot of new faces in new places across college football, and they're starting to get settled for better or worse. We'll let you know which newbies have been money and which are still settling into their new home.
And we'll wrap things up by telling you what we think of the nation's best and worst programs, as well as looking ahead to our game of the week here at No Pulp. All that starts right now.
DeShera from Auburn.
The freshmen never win. The freshmen never win championships.
Jeremy, you are an absolute square.
Cleveland the catch. Good if it goes. He hit it. Wow, it's getting serious.
Frankly, I'm pretty embarrassed.
Bang!
All day life.
New open, who dis? Welcome to No Pulp with Johnny Gadamowitz. I'm Calvin Christoforo. Johnny, have you ever watched a football game where both teams lost?
Calvin, I'm not sure if that's is there a new rule this year I'm unaware of?
Listen, I watched college football all weekend. In every single game I watched, both teams lost. I mean, it must have happened in 50 or so games over the weekend. But we're going to start in South Bend, where there was a clear winner and a clear loser. And the winner wasn't the home team. Marshall thundered into Notre Dame Stadium and took down Marcus Freeman and co. 26-21. The Irish now sit at 0-2 on the season. What is going on with Notre Dame?
Well, Calvin, problem number one, there are a lot of problems. Problem number one is the offensive line. Their running back so far through 2 games for the Irish, 115 yards. Again, that's through 2 games. This is Notre Dame we're talking about. This is offensive lineman university. That hasn't been the case. Poor O-line play combined with a lack of skilled players on the outside. Michael Mayer, the tight end. Lorenzo Styles, a very solid receiver. But you need more than that to be a perennial top 5 team. The Irish don't have it.
I'll piggyback it with that point. The offense needs work. These dudes can't score. Look, 10 points against Ohio State on the road, season opener, new coach, I get it, yada, yada, yada. But 21 points against Marshall at home? What are we doing here? Marshall's a Sun Belt. It is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them.
This is Notre Dame football we're talking about.
Notre Dame football. They wore the golden helmets, those guys.
They do. Well, Notre Dame with plenty of issues to sort out. And now how do they fix it? What do they need to do in order? Is it salvageable? Is it fixable?
I think their biggest key is they cannot play up or play down to their competition. You watched that first half against Ohio State, neck and neck with the Buckeyes. They led at half. They played up to the competition. Marshall comes in, a road game next week. It's a game where you kind of fall into a little bit of a trap. They played down to Marshall's competition, and the Thunder and Herd smacked them. We are Marshall. They can't play down to a team of that caliber.
I'm with you there. I think they needed to get out to better starts. Marcus Freeman saying, look, we need to get out to better start. We can't get out to slow starts. Notre Dame needs to do just that. Now, plenty of issues to sort out, but let's shift gears and head over to the SEC, where there were plenty of results that raised some eyebrows over the weekend. Alabama escaped Texas by only 1 point. Texas A&M fell on home turf to unranked App State, and Kentucky surprised Florida in a battle of ranked teams. Calvin, which of these games was the most concerning for an SEC powerhouse?
Sanford, look, they didn't put up enough of a fight against Georgia. No, I'm kidding. It's Texas A&M. This is a team that talk the talk. We want Bama. We didn't pay any of our recruits. We have top 10 recruiting classes in back-to-back years. Come on. You lose to App State at home. You score 14 points against App State at home. You score only 1 touchdown with your offense against App State, where at home. That cannot happen against an App State defense that gave up 63 points to a first-year starter last week. I'm embarrassed for Texas A&M. Disgusting performance on your home turf.
I think it's A&M as well. And look, I think rolling into this past week, there were a lot of people that saw that number 6 in front of A&M's name. They raised their eyebrows a little bit, and I think this weekend, those same exact people were proven right. And safe to say, Jimbo Fisher, if the seat wasn't already hot, I think right now it's red hot. We'll hit more on coming up this week against Miami, but if the Hurricanes find a way to get it done, whole lot of conversation going against Jimbo.
A&M season's over. They lose that game before SEC play starts. What we didn't mention, Alabama, Texas. Alabama looked human. Are they still your top team in the country?
I don't think so. I think we're at the point now where it's Georgia and then it's everyone else. You look at who Georgia's played, and of course, there's not a whole lot to nitpick. Stetson Bennett pulled in the third quarter in both of those games. It's the Dogs. Natty champs, and then everybody else.
I still like Alabama. Look, they played awful on the road last year. I think they'll bounce back when they go back to the friendly combines at Bryant-Denny Stadium. But going back to the theme of games that nobody wanted to win, 3 missed field goals and an overtime later, number 21 BYU upsets number 9 Baylor in Provo, which completely blows the doors open on the Big 12. So now that Baylor has a loss, who's the team to beat in that conference?
Calvin, I think it's Oklahoma State, and I think this is one that is a little bit up for debate. Look, they haven't done anything super sexy so far, but they haven't done anything wrong either. They're averaging 46 points through their first two games, and that's Big 12 football for you, because the defense has not been incredible. In fact, they allowed 44 points to Central Michigan in Week 1. That is an issue they are going to need to figure out. But at the end of the day, they can outscore you. That's what matters. Last year, they should have won the Big 12, and it's a squad that has enough talent to get back there and do it again.
Look, I agree with you here, actually, because I think they're complete. Spencer Sanders comes back as the quarterback. They got still Mike Gundy at the helm for that football team. I like Oklahoma. I like the things they're doing with Brett Venables and Dylan Gabriel at the helm of that team. But I still think Oklahoma State is the team to beat. But now we move on to BYU, Johnny, a team that when you look up and down the schedule, they're ranked up in the top 15 now. Can this team potentially run the table and become the Cincinnati of 2022?
Calvin, not only are they the new 2021 Cincy team, I think they're better. Their last 27 games
is ridiculous.
Hear me out. Last 27 games, 23-4. You know what Alabama is during that span?
Come on. You want to look at the schedules?
Alabama is during that span?
What are they?
25-2. BYU is right there. 7 of their last 11 games against ranked opponents they've won. 9 of their last 11 against Power 5 teams they've won. BYU hasn't had a time like this in program history. If they can get by Oregon this week, there are going to be a whole lot of conversations of BYU shooting up the ranks.
You think the Cougars win out? Potentially.
I think if they take care of Oregon
this week, ridiculous take. They play Oregon. You didn't mention Notre Dame, okay? You didn't mention some other teams. They play Liberty, a good group of 5 team. No shot they win out. They are a 3-loss ball club at the end of the season. So we're going to leave that there, but we're going to move on. Coming up on No Pulp, we have one of the most prominent college football analysts joining the program.
Kirk Herbstreit?
No, not Kirk Herbstreit.
Todd Blackwood?
He was busy too. We got Trey Redfield coming on in the juicer. He'll take on Johnny when we return.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Superheroes? Just 4 brothers who hate bullies and love this city. Whoa! Gear up, guys.
Welcome back to No Pulp, where the pulp is 0 and the fun is a lot. And now the fun is a lot plus 1. Johnny Gadamowitz, Calvin Christoforo, now joined by Trey Redfield, who is moderately excited to add some mild-manner analysis.
Wait,
moderately excited to add mild-manner analysis.
Well, yeah, my analysis is great.
Well,
what are you talking about?
I'm kind of mild-manner because Kirk was busy. And we ended up with you. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Trey, you're in what's called the juicer, and you probably don't need me to tell you that because
it's right there.
The big thing tells you that behind you. But I'm going to ask you a question related to college football, and you and Johnny are each going to have 30 seconds to answer the question. And whatever answer I like better gets a point. Get it? Got it?
May
Good.
the best man win.
Okay. That's cold.
Trying to distract me.
No, it's on time.
Trey,
Thanks for the heads
focus
up.
on the question.
my bad.
Okay, we're going to go with Johnny first. Johnny, it's been a coaching carousel this offseason, but who out of the first 2 weeks has been the most impressive new hire this season?
We're going down to the 305. It's Mario
Zip
Cristobal leading the charge
No bonus
for the
points for that.
Miami Hurricanes. Look, ACC football runs through Clemson. I'm not here to refute that, but the difference this year is that it's not Clemson and everyone else. Miami is a team that has entered themselves into that conversation. 2 games so far this year, 100 points. Trey, I know what you're going to tell me. It's Southern Miss. It's Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's exactly what it
100
is.
points through 2 games. A lot to like. A crazy offense going down in Miami, led by running back Thad Franklin. He's had a monster
Time's up.
first 2 games.
Can you stop talking
Take the
about
floor.
Bethune?
I'm taking the floor. Right
Not
now.
a good start, Johnny. Trey, you
No,
got this
it's
one
not.
in the bag if you don't buy it.
I'm rolling with Lincoln Riley. He comes out of USC where he made the move from Oklahoma to US. What do you mean it's a safe pick? It's the right pick. What are you talking about? He had his squad at 2-0 already this season. Number 7 in the nation. He's got Caleb Williams whipping the football left and right to Jordan Addison. I mean, look, maybe some NIL help in there, but either way, that's a new game. Little under 600 yards for Williams, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also got a pretty tough win in Palo Alto. It's hard to win on the road, step 1, but also it's hard to win on the road against Stanford. Lincoln Riley and company did that, and knowing how crowded it is at the top of the rankings right now, dare I say the 7th-ranked Trojans will find themselves in the college football playoff this season.
Johnny, what's Bethune-Cookman's mascot?
Wildcats.
1-0 Trey is your score.
Wildcats.
Lincoln
Are
Riley,
they the Bobcats? It's very impressive. If
Wildcats.
that's true.
Wildcats.
Lincoln Riley, a much better
In the media,
coach
too.
to start, just because Mario Cristobal hasn't played anyone. Southern Miss, Bethune-Cookman. I mean, are you kidding me?
Trey took the slam dunk answer.
All right, we hit the good. Now we got to move to the bad. Trey, 2 weeks in, who has impressed you the least as a new head coach?
Well, it's a guy that has to impersonate a Southern accent. I'm going with Brian Kelly because he's
that was
had
almost just as bad what you just did.
I know, it's really bad. It's funny.
And you're from the
I'm
South.
from North Carolina, and I don't have an accent myself, but we got to talk about Brian Kelly, guys. This is a problem. Poor showing against Florida State. Dare I say, in New Orleans as well, where LSU won a national championship in 2020. Not only do you lose to Florida State, that is a team that is finishing 5th in the Atlantic Division in the Atlantic Coast Conference. He had players unfollowing LSU media and not even competent in his group, saying at halftime, hey, this team's just absolutely horrible. And honestly, we could play. This is probably the worst we're going to play all season. That's kind of ridiculous. Southern is Southern. You know, you said Southern Miss and Bethune-Cookman. I'm using the same excuse here.
All right,
Southern
move on,
is, yeah.
unless you know Southern's mascot.
Wait, Southern?
Yeah.
Tigers.
I think the Jaguars. But
Oh, yeah, they are Jaguars. They are
Johnny,
Jaguars.
Johnny,
They are
go
Jaguars.
ahead.
That's on me.
Who has
That's on
impressed
me.
you the least?
Trey took the slam dunk answer for question number 1. I'm going to take the slam dunk answer for question number 2. It's Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, I think so.
Everything that could have gone wrong for Mr. Freeman has gone wrong so far through 2 games. Only 16 points per game through his first 2 contests for Notre Dame. It's a stagnant offense. They don't have a leader. Fewer total yards than Marshall and 3 more turnovers. That's a pretty bad problem to have. It starts at the top with the head coach. Callan Laybourne, Marshall's running back, 163 rushing yards. That's the most a back has put up against the Irish
also
since
not good.
2016. New Year's Six Bowl in question. They got to win out to get to that.
Yeah.
Frustrating year for the Irish, and it all starts from the top down.
Johnny, here's the difference, though. You took a guy that was going and staying in his program. It's a lot more disappointing when you up and leave, go to the SEC and expect to win right away. That's why Trey Redfield has a 2-0 lead in the juicer. He up and left to greener pastures, and now he's killing the grass out there. Reporters are showing late to his meetings and ripping him back. Brian Kelly, right now,
All right, I'm going to
least
channel my
impressive.
04 Boston Red Sox right
Oh,
here.
I love that.
That's some brownie points right there. All right, we hit the coaches.
Playing the smart
Now
game.
let's go to the players on the field. Johnny, who has been the most impressive newcomer? It be a freshman or a transfer coming in?
I think it's Caleb Williams, and there are a lot of guys that you can put in this category that would make sense. But for me, it's Williams who stands out the most. Look, USC taking down Stanford at Stanford for the first time since 2014. You did mention that earlier, Trey. I will mention
That's
that.
a great win.
341 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's up to 80% of a completion rate on the year so far. This is someone who opened as a top 3 odds favorite to win the Heisman. He'll end the year as a top 3 odds favorite to win the Heisman, and don't be surprised if he's hoisting the trophy.
Look, I have an actual newcomer, and his name is Drake May. He comes out of North Carolina. He's actually pretty darn good. He's a freshman doing this whole thing. He leads the nation in passing yards, 930. Leads the nation in passing touchdowns, 11. Only has one interception that came this past weekend against Georgia State. He is the reason why, offensively, UNC's got it done. 63 points against Appalachian State. I know there was that onside kick return, helped him out a little bit, but still, 63 points put up by the Tar Heels. Drake May's kind of a big reason why. 35 against Georgia State as well. Not too shabby either. And then you absolutely obliterate Florida A&M.
All right,
a little bit of a step back there, but Drake May's that guy.
You made your point.
He's got that dog.
I thought there was a 30-second.
Johnny.
Hey, you
Johnny,
got it too.
Hey, I'm the judge here. Okay? Thank you. All right, so, Johnny, you went Caleb Williams. You took the easy road. You think a guy who was a top 3 guy to win the Heisman? What? No, that's not impressive.
Wow.
We expected that.
He's doing what he's supposed to do.
Trey Redfield up 3-0 in the juicer.
Someone's a little salty from a recent episode of Pulp, I think.
We got one question left, and Johnny, I'm not going to throw you under the bridge here. I'm going to make this question worth... 4 is too much, I think.
That's
one question.
Yeah.
Right? But
well, normally it's 2.
Yeah, 4 is too much. 3.1, though, I don't think is enough. I'm going to make this question worth pi. So just keep that in the back of your head. This question's worth pi.
Pi.
Winner,
works for me.
So I'm up.
Winner,
I'm
winner
up
take
3-0, right?
Yeah, winner takes pi. All right, you know the drill. We went best to worst. We'll do it again with the players. Who is the offensive player or newcomer that you've been the least impressed with this season so far?
He had to get out of the SEC to make himself a big name. The guy's name is Bo Nix. He came from Auburn. Now he's playing with Oregon. And I'm going to be honest, the guy is still kind of mid. Like, what is Bro doing going from Auburn to Oregon and then going on a big stage being in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game? You're playing against Georgia. You're expected to pop off, right? You threw 2 interceptions against the Bulldogs. He was nowhere near ready for the big opportunity. Doesn't matter if he threw 5 touchdowns against Eastern Washington, because I'll tell you what, I'm with you on this one about BYU. BYU is going to smoke Oregon and Bo Nix because of what the Cougars bring to the table defensively.
Cut your guy some slack. Georgia's the best defense in the country.
You have way more wind than one sail can take. Okay,
yeah,
calm down.
More than
Johnny,
moderate
make your
energy
point and
here.
make it fast.
He's excited. I'll give him that. Yeah. I'm going to go Spencer Rattler. Look, the numbers aren't terrible, but South Carolina brings in Spencer Rattler to win a game against Arkansas this past weekend. That's why you go out and get a guy like Rattler. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns so far this season. Even against Georgia State, just over 220 in a game where he probably could have and should have thrown for close to 400, maybe plus. Rattler's been disappointing for me.
More disappointing. What are you talking about?
Both good answers. I'm torn. You know what? Let's go to a tiebreaker. I said this was worth pi. Who can name me more digits than pi? Trey, go ahead.
3.14159265. I've seen the second night at the museum.
Johnny?
That's as far as it goes.
3.1592658.
There it is! Gadamowitz wins the tiebreaker.
Math.
From the basement to the cellar, Johnny G wins the juicer. 3.1415926, whatever else he said.
5. I said 5.
3.
What'd you say? 8?
That's your time. Your time's up, Trey. Hit the showers. When we come back, some teams are storming down the field, others are stuck in their own territories. It's the inaugural edition of Pylon to Pylon, and it's next on No Pulp.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just.
Taking care of a family member can lead to plenty of questions. Fortunately, there's a place to get the answers, for them and for you. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
and welcome back to No Pulp. He's Calvin Christoforo. I'm Johnny Gadamowitz, breaking down everything you need to know in the college football world. And now it's time for a little game we like to call Pylon to Pylon. As you can see, Calvin and I are going to name 3 different programs. We'll tell you what yard line that team is on and how close they are to punching it into the end zone. And Calvin, I want to start with the team that made some headlines over the weekend and not particularly good ones. Nebraska just fired their head coach, Scott Frost. Calvin, how deep are the Cornhuskers in their own territory?
My Cornhuskers, everyone's jumping off the bandwagon. I'm humping on. Throw where my Cornhuskers are down, right at the 25-yard line in their own territory. You probably expect them to be back here, right? But they're doing everything right. They fired their coach, moving in the right direction. One of their losses is in Ireland. I think they're doing everything right moving forward starting from today.
That is very generous. You just fired your head coach. You fire your own head coach.
Move.
You got to be all the way back at your own 1-yard line. That's right. One more bad move, Calvin. They're in jeopardy of a safety. That is a tough look for Nebraska.
I don't know if we're looking at
early
like it's kind of like your nose. Is that like
might as well be in the end zone at that point.
We'll move on and we'll go to Kentucky. Where do you have the Wildcats?
Kentucky is an interesting case because I think they're a team that can get some stuff done in the SEC. We saw that big time this past weekend against Florida, so let's see where I have Kentucky. They're not quite there, but they're getting close. I'm going to put them at the opponent's 20-yard line. They got some big games coming up. Still got to play Tennessee, still got to play Georgia, in-state rival Louisville. We haven't closed the book on the Wildcats yet.
All right, I'm going at the 30, and I think you're right. They're moving in the right direction, but here's what they're not. They're not Alabama. They're not Georgia. They're not a big dog in the SEC. They're not ready to compete for an SEC title. That's why they're at 30. But we're going to have another one coming up right now, Johnny.
All right, well, how about we check out the Texas Longhorns? They made some big headlines over the weekend. They didn't beat Alabama, but they were pretty close to it. Where do you have the Longhorns?
I like Texas, but I don't love them. I'm going to put it still in their own territory at the 40-yard line. Alabama, a terrible football team on the road. You look back to last year's results, a bad Auburn team, quadruple overtime on the road. At home, they were good. On the road, they were terrible. Texas didn't finish the job, dude. They had them on the ropes. Longhorns couldn't finish the job. They're still in a top 10. They're not a top 3 team in the Big 12. I still got them in their own territory.
Cut them a little bit of slack. They lost their starting quarterback, and they lost by 1 point to the #1 team in the country. Texas is getting there. Texas is getting pretty close. Nah, but they're further than you had them. Let's put them at the opponent 30-yard line.
500 teams are at the 30 now?
team is going to make a lot of noise down the home. They get Quinn Ewers back healthy.
I thought 500 teams
the
were
rest
500
of
teams.
the talent is there. Keep an eye on Texas down the home stretch.
Right.
We've got still more to come here on No Pulp. When we come back, we'll review some of the best plays that college football had to offer in Week 2. Plus, a look ahead to Week 3. All that and a whole lot more. No Pulp. We'll be right back.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please.
Don't quit on me. Okay. But remember, it's not what you say. It's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it...
Wrapping up here on No Pulp, and Johnny, it's time to get to our plays of the week. You literally, quite frankly, had over 100,000 plays to choose from, so yours better be darn good or I'm going to be quite upset.
Well, you know what? There were a lot of them, Calvin.
I watched every single one,
I was sitting at my desk contemplating for hours who was going to be the play of the week. There were a lot of worthy candidates, but taking the cake for me, let's go Chase Roberts, BYU, the wide receiver. Calvin, you have any gymnast experience? I want you to check out that acrobatic.
My sister was a national champion.
Watch that toe tap. Let's get another look at this. Oh my goodness, Chase Roberts What a dart of a throw. First of all, perfect placement. The ability and the recognition to go out and get that and tap that foot just inside the sideline, enough for 6 points. This was a heck of a contest. BYU needed that play big time. Roberts made it happen. Give him the play of the week.
I say bring back the navy blue BYU uniforms. I don't know what your thoughts on that. I guess that's beside the point. For me, I like when big men do big things, especially with tempo down the field. So I send you to formerly Heinz Field, I don't know what the new name is, where Gavin Bartholomew, the 6'5", 255-pound tight end, what? Over the head of Trayvon Flowers. What are you doing, Mr. Flowers? Look at Bartholomew over your dome down the sideline. What are you sliding for? You going into second base? That need a double. You're thrown out. Bartholomew, an athlete. High school quarterback, played at Blue Mountain High School, not Blue Mountain State, Blue Mountain High School. Guy is a dude and a freak of an athlete.
He's got some serious ups. I'll give him that.
It's me, him, Michael Jordan. I've put in the maybe.
I might take Bartholomew, but
no, that's top three. We're not.
All right,
no need to order those.
Toss-up.
Yeah, top three. Yeah.
We've got.
It's time for the No Pulp,
and it is now time for us to look ahead.
That it is.
Game of the Week.
Number 13, Miami. Number 24 at Texas A&M in College Station. Calvin, it's prime time. It's Saturday. It's two ranked teams. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Who do you like this
week?
We
talked about this a little bit. We teased it. Miami, a team 2-0. You like them. They haven't beaten anyone. Okay, but Texas A&M just lost at home to App State. I like Texas A&M in this game at home to bounce back. They lose this game, their season over. Capital O, capital V, lowercase e, capital R. Their season over. Before SEC play, not going to happen. They get it done.
You know who Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke said he did the most preseason prep on? Texas A&M. The straw is going to break the camel's back on Jimbo Fisher. Give me the Canes.
That is a bold prediction, Johnny. Taking the Canes in College Station. It's time now, though, to get to our final points. It's been a rough stretch, to say the least, for Nebraska football. The Huskers have gone 18-37 since their last bowl appearance in 2016. They're 1-2 to start off this year. Just fired their Golden Boy head coach. They turned down Joe Burrow. Okay, you get the point. It's been rough. But Saturday's loss to Georgia Southern, and the one that put the final nail in Scott Frost's coffin, there were over 90,000 fans at Memorial Stadium. That's right, a sellout. The 384th consecutive sellout, a record that goes back to 1962. 60 years. Those noon kickoffs when Bethune-Cookman, Johnny loves them, but when they came to town at 1-6, fans were there. Nebraska, I tip my cap to you. A great, great fan base.
All right, for my final word, I'm going to be that guy for a sec. Texas might not be all the way back, but they're pretty darn close to being back. In the midst of all this chaos, despite a tough loss to Alabama, maybe they're kind of sort of back. In all seriousness, though, the Longhorns have a lot to like. They opened as a 21.5-point underdog, the largest point spread for a game in Austin since all the way back in 1978, the FBS-FCS split. They lost by 1 point. But this team doesn't care about moral victories. It doesn't matter. They're putting the SEC on notice.
Well, they'll be in the SEC in a couple years. So the moral of the story is Bethune-Cookman, overrated football team. Johnny loves the Sun Belt. I'm not a fan of the Sun Belt. And Kentucky, getting there, not there. Texas, not back. That's all the time we have on No Pull. For Johnny Gadamowitz, I'm Calvin Christoforo. We'll catch you next time.